The village of Gokseong is thrown into chaos when a grisly murder occurs. A local man, covered in rashes and boils, brutally kills his family, leaving the community in shock. Jong-goo, a bumbling but well-meaning police officer, arrives at the crime scene to find the man in a dazed, incoherent state. The authorities initially dismiss the case as the result of mushroom poisoning or a mental breakdown, but the bizarre nature of the incident lingers in the villagers' minds. Soon, more mysterious deaths follow. Each victim displays the same symptoms: severe skin rashes, fever, and violent behavior. Fear spreads quickly, and the villagers begin to speculate about the cause of the sudden outbreak. Rumors circulate about a Japanese man living in the forest, whom some suspect of practicing dark rituals. Sightings of him near the scenes of these tragedies fuel suspicions, creating an atmosphere of paranoia. Jong-goo, though skeptical of the supernatural claims, can't ignore the rising tension in the village. The peaceful community he once knew is now gripped by fear, with every rustle in the woods adding to their anxiety. Despite his disbelief in the villagers' stories, he starts to sense that something far more sinister and unexplainable is at play. Jong-goo, the village police officer, tries to maintain his composure amidst the growing chaos. Known for his clumsy and easygoing nature, he initially struggles to take the strange occurrences seriously. He spends his days dealing with minor village disputes, hardly equipped to handle a potential supernatural crisis. However, the increasing number of deaths and bizarre incidents start to weigh on him. One day, while on patrol, Jong-goo encounters an eyewitness who claims to have seen a mysterious figure near one of the crime scenes. The description fits that of the Japanese man living deep in the forest. This, combined with the eerie stories about the man performing rituals, piques Jong-goo's curiosity. Though skeptical, he can't ignore the villagers' growing fear and the possibility that there might be a connection between the stranger and the unfolding horrors. Driven by duty and his own rising paranoia, Jong-goo decides to investigate the rumors. He gathers his fellow officers and heads into the forest to visit the Japanese man's cabin. When they arrive, they find a disturbing sight. The cabin is filled with strange talismans, photographs of the afflicted villagers, and signs of possible ritualistic activities. The eerie atmosphere and evidence shake Jong-goo, planting the first seeds of doubt and fear in his otherwise rational mind. As Jong-goo continues his investigation, a terrifying new twist strikes him at home. His young daughter, Hyo-jin, starts to exhibit the same disturbing symptoms seen in the other victims: severe rashes, fever, and increasingly violent behavior. She wakes up screaming in the middle of the night, spewing curses and acting completely out of character. This horrifying change in his beloved daughter fills Jong-goo with fear and panic. The situation quickly spirals out of control as Hyo-jin's condition worsens. Jong-goo and his wife desperately try to understand what's happening to their child. Doctors can't provide a clear diagnosis, leaving them helpless. Meanwhile, the villagers' rumors and fear of the Japanese man linger in Jong-goo's mind, but he is torn between his skepticism and the growing evidence that something supernatural might be at work. This crisis turns Jong-goo's investigation into a personal struggle. What started as a job to keep the village safe now becomes a fight to save his daughter. The once laid-back officer is now consumed by worry, willing to do anything to uncover the truth and protect his family. His fear, confusion, and determination mark a turning point, pushing him deeper into the dark mystery engulfing the village. With Hyo-jin's condition rapidly deteriorating, Jong-goo grows increasingly desperate. Having exhausted all logical explanations and medical solutions, he turns to superstition as his last resort. At the urging of his mother-in-law, he contacts a renowned shaman, Il-gwang, who is known for his mystical abilities and exorcisms. Though initially hesitant, Jong-goo agrees, driven by fear and the hope of saving his daughter. Il-gwang arrives at their home and begins a series of elaborate rituals to identify the source of Hyo-jin's possession. Drums echo throughout the house as the shaman chants incantations and performs animal sacrifices. The intense ritual sends shockwaves of fear and tension through the family. At the same time, the shaman warns them that Hyo-jin has been cursed by an evil spirit, which he claims is tied to the mysterious Japanese man living in the forest. As the ritual continues, Hyo-jin's condition fluctuates violently, shifting between moments of calm and sudden, terrifying outbursts. Jong-goo watches helplessly, torn between disbelief and hope. The shaman insists that the source of the curse must be confronted and eradicated, hinting that the Japanese man is at the heart of the darkness. This pushes Jong-goo further into a state of paranoia and dread, as he becomes increasingly convinced that supernatural forces are indeed at play. Driven by the shaman's words and his own desperation, Jong-goo decides to confront the mysterious Japanese man in the forest. Along with a few fellow officers and a villager, he sets off towards the stranger's secluded cabin. Tension fills the air as they approach, each step weighed down by fear of what they might uncover. Despite his anxiety, Jong-goo's resolve is fueled by his determination to save Hyo-jin. When they arrive, they are met with a haunting sight. The cabin is filled with ominous objects. Photographs of the villagers who fell ill, including one of Hyo-jin, twisted talismans, and evidence of rituals. Inside a room, they find a decaying animal corpse hung from the ceiling, adding to the unsettling atmosphere. The Japanese man, visibly disturbed by the intrusion, emerges. His appearance is calm yet eerie, which unnerves Jong-goo and his companions further. The confrontation escalates quickly. The villagers begin to shout accusations, blaming the Japanese man for the calamities that have befallen the village. The man denies any wrongdoing, his calm demeanor contrasting sharply with the group's rising hysteria. Overwhelmed by rage and fear, Jong-goo and the others decide to attack him, beating him brutally. However, as they leave, a gnawing uncertainty lingers in Jong-goo's mind. Was this truly an act of justice, or had they just lashed out in blind panic? This encounter leaves him even more confused, torn between believing in the shaman's words and the mysterious man's innocence. After the brutal confrontation with the Japanese man, Jong-goo returns home, hoping that the attack might have weakened the curse afflicting his daughter. However, his hopes are quickly dashed when Hyo-jin's condition worsens. She grows more violent, her eyes filled with rage and hatred as she screams and thrashes around. Her behavior becomes increasingly erratic, turning their once peaceful home into a nightmare. Jong-goo watches in horror, feeling powerless and consumed by fear. As his daughter's condition deteriorates, Jong-goo's paranoia deepens. His mind races with questions and suspicions. Conflicting thoughts bombard him. The shaman claims that the Japanese man is a demon, while the mysterious woman in white insists he is not the real enemy. Caught between these contradicting claims, Jong-goo starts to doubt everyone around him. Each time he sees the woman in white, she cryptically warns him to stay away from the shaman, adding another layer of uncertainty to his already troubled mind. Desperate for answers, Jong-goo turns to the shaman again, hoping for a solution. However, the shaman reveals that the rituals are failing because the evil spirit's power is growing stronger. He pressures Jong-goo, urging him to take drastic measures, to kill the Japanese man to break the curse. Torn between his fear for his daughter's life and the swirling paranoia clouding his judgment, Jong-goo agrees. His descent into a frantic, almost primal state sets him on a path toward a final, irreversible decision, driven by his overwhelming need to save his daughter at any. Jong-goo, now at the peak of his paranoia and desperation, gathers his fellow officers to return to the Japanese man's cabin. With the shaman's warning echoing in his mind, he is convinced that this final confrontation is the only way to save his daughter from the worsening curse. The group, armed and tense, moves through the forest, hearts pounding with a mix of fear and determination. When they reach the cabin, they find the Japanese man weak and disheveled. Despite his battered state, he pleads for his innocence, denying any involvement in the horrors plaguing the village. Jong-goo, however, is blinded by his fear and rage. In a chaotic frenzy, he drags the man out of the cabin. As they prepare to kill him, the Japanese man suddenly transforms into a more demonic, terrifying form. This shocking transformation only fuels their belief that they are facing the root of all evil. Yet, as they leave the scene, a sense of unease grips Jong-goo. The Japanese man's last words, spoken in a haunting plea, echo in his mind. Doubt begins to creep in, and Jong-goo questions whether his actions were driven by justice or a manipulation of his fear. Rushing home, he clings to the hope that his daughter is free from the curse. However, as he nears his house, he is met with an ominous silence, suggesting that his battle against the darkness may not be over. Jong-goo arrives home, his heart pounding as he approaches the house in desperate hope. However, he is greeted by an eerie silence. Inside, he finds Hyo-jin in a horrifying state, possessed and completely consumed by rage. She lashes out, screaming and violently thrashing, confirming Jong-goo's worst fears: his actions have not broken the curse. He is paralyzed by guilt and terror, realizing that all his efforts may have been in vain. In his despair, Jong-goo encounters the mysterious woman in white again. She reveals to him that the Japanese man was indeed a demon, feeding off the villagers' fear and suffering. However, she also exposes the shaman's true intentions. The shaman was not a savior, but an accomplice who misled Jong-goo, sowing confusion to protect the demon. Her words confirm Jong-goo's suspicions, but they also leave him shattered, realizing that he has been a pawn in a larger, sinister game. Desperately seeking redemption, Jong-goo races back to the Japanese man's cabin for a final confrontation. There, he finds the man fully transformed into a demonic entity, revealing his true nature. The demon mocks Jong-goo, recounting how easily he was manipulated by fear and superstition. It becomes painfully clear that the chain of events was orchestrated to lead to this moment of complete devastation. As Jong-goo collapses in anguish, the scene shifts back to his home, where Hyo-jin's fate is tragically sealed, leaving the viewer with a haunting sense of the power of evil and the consequences of misguided trust. The Wailing ends on a grim note, leaving viewers haunted by its dark themes of fear, superstition, and the complexity of human nature. It masterfully blurs the lines between good and evil, keeping audiences guessing until the very end. The film leaves us pondering the true nature of evil and the consequences of our choices in the face of overwhelming terror. If you like our work, please like, share and subscribe our channel for more related content.